Hey, this is Chris from Rekkid Talk, and so I've been pretty much a non-entity in the VC vinyl community recently, but I've seen some people have been posting about 10-inch records, and I decided I'm going to show most of my 10-inch record collection. I think Brian at Embryonic Robot was the person who started this thread, and then I kind of became aware of it. I think the first video that I saw was Vinyl Richie, and then of Joe Kim, Joaquim at Middle Life Crisis Rants showed some 10-inch records along with a bunch of other, of course, cool punk records that most of us have never seen. So, as I said, I'm going to show you most but not all of my 10-inch collection. So, of course, one of the things that people complain about is where do you store your 10-inch records? Well, actually, I store them in the bottom cube. There's a box of 45s, and then the room left over. There's enough room for um, I've got a little over 20 10-inch records. Of course, this one I can store normally because this is the best of Elvis. So this was a comp originally released in the UK in 1958, re-released in 1983 in France.
25 centimetres.
So 25 centimetres. So that's French for 10-inch, 25 centimeters. And so, of course, the way they packaged it was, so here's the 10-inch record, and then basically you've got a piece of cardboard. That's the normal 12-inch side. That's put in an outer sleeve. That's labeled for you. And then there's your actual little 10-inch Elvis record. 25 centimetres. And of course, if you decided you actually want to buy, you've got to get the outer sleeves. I've never actually bought 10-inch inner sleeves, so I just use whatever sleeve it comes with for the inner sleeve. But I bought some outer sleeves. I bought a pack of 25. I probably still have about 16 of them left because sometimes when I buy the record, it comes with an outer sleeve. This will probably be enough for the rest of my life. But of course, if we're gonna, the rest of these will be proper 10-inch, 25 centimetres, or however it translates in Japan. So of course we got the Japanese Elvis here, Masaaki Hirao, and Nippon rock and roll, Nippon rock and roll. So cool sleeve, cool looking dude. Late 50s, early 60s, the birth of Japanese rockabilly. So, of course, completely stereotypical pronunciation of that there. Then, of course, 10-inch records were big in the 1950s because, I mean, shellac wasn't dead yet, the 78 RPM shellac, which I don't have any of, so I won't be showing you any. But when they started releasing vinyl LPs, some of them will get released on 10-inch, some of them will get released on 12-inch. It ended up standardizing to 12-inch. But this is probably one of the oldest records in my collection from 1950. So this is Ima Sumak with Voice of the Extabe. I mean, I found this for $5 in an antique store and I just couldn't resist. I mean, her voice is just unnaturally high and crazy, and that's a cool looking cover. This, of course, is a modern reissue, but Red Hot Bopper, so 10 rockabilly songs from the Sun collection, so it's on modern red 10-inch vinyl. Jerry Lee Lewis, Barbara Pittman, and the like, Warren Smith, Carl Perkins, these sorts of folks. Another modern reissue is, so you got to do some Blue Note on 10-inch. So this is Thelonious Monk, Genius of Modern Music, which I believe this was recorded in, I think this might have been recorded in the late 1940s originally. So if that's right, then it would have been on a series of 78s. But of course, these are together on a single 10-inch record. This was part of the 75th anniversary series, which I think was like 10 years ago now. And then for modern rockabilly, of course, we got Max Stevens and his In the Groove Boys with Best Rockin' Place. I know I've shown this before. On his Fredonia label, he released as a 10-inch because, I mean, that's what he wants to do. Then, of course, as they decided that full-length record should be 12-inch rather than 10-inch, and shellac got phased out, you saw very few 10-inch records in like the 60s, 70s, and 80s. I do have, so this is from this song's from 1971. Again, this is a weird modern reissue. What's Going On by Marvin Gaye. So this is like a weird EP. It's got What's Going On and then a different song called God Is Love on side 1. I think God Is Love was the original B-side. And then it's got a couple of different mixes of What's Going On side 2. So that's kind of an oddity. And then, of course, punk came along, and so punk would bring back things like 10-inch records. So you got Joy by the Minutemen. I think this was some mid-'80s on SST. And then, of course, in the 1990s, bands, of course, were releasing albums, mostly on the CD format. You had the CD maxi singles, so a lot of times you'd have like 4 or 5 songs on a CD. You'd have the single. You might have like a different version of it. You'd have some B-side songs that weren't on the album. And so, of course, I'm going to show you the Juliana Hatfield 10 inches. So in England, in Europe, they were still releasing these on 10-inch records, whereas in the United States, you would have bought this as either a CD single or maybe a cassette single. I have a couple of them. So this is My Sister, Juliana Hatfield 3. So you got Todd, and Dean on the front cover, and you got Jules on the back cover. And then and she had Universal Heartbeat, and it came with 3 songs that weren't on the album. Although when the album was reissued several years ago on vinyl, these are put on a bonus side, those songs. Then, of course, you'd get stuff like this, Rage Against the Machine, People of the Sun EP, and so you've got some live stuff. You have Bulls on Parade, kind of cover of Black Steel in the Hour of Chaos, and the like. And of course, you got Slint. That's a Slint sticker because Slint doesn't actually like to put their names on anything. And so you got one song there, and you got one song there on a 10-inch record, Touch and Go Records. And then if we go into the 21st century, occasionally indie rock people will release something on a 10-inch record to be weird. So this is the intersection of the Vinyl Richie and Chris from Rekkid Talk 10-inch collection. La Luz with the Damn Face EP from 2016. He's got a signed copy because he bought his at one of their shows. I did not, so and then it's just normal, good old black vinyl. And trying to put it back. So I got this crappy paper sleeve because I haven't actually tried to hunt down like proper rice paper 10-inch inner sleeves. Just hasn't been something I've done. And then this is the most recent. I think this is the only 2024 10-inch record I own. So it's a band called The Real Rejects. So this is sort of a garagey punk band from Moncton, New Brunswick, but they're on the German label Alien Snatch. And I've gotten a couple other records that I ordered from Germany from them. This is the only one that's a 10-inch record. And so they send you some Alien Snatch stickers. And then you got the Real Rejects. And Real Rejects. Nasty Fingers. And, it's on like teal vinyl on the Alien Snatch Records label. Alien Snatch guy on the label on the other side. So there you go. Bunch of 10-inch records for you in 10 minutes.